What's up, everybody? Welcome to StoryHive On Location in Victoria with Beats, Eats, and more! Oh my gosh, I switched mine because I heard you. Woo!
I went off for a second.
Oh my gosh. My name is Kazi, the host of this show. We are broadcasting live right now on the unceded ancestral Lekwungen territories. Utmost love, respect, and gratitude to the original stewards and protectors of these lands and waters, that is the Songhees and Esquimalt First Nations. I'm so stoked for this episode because we're in Victoria right now, aka Vic City, in a really, really special place called Haus of Owl. Haus of Owl is a creative clubhouse for artists, storytellers, and innovators. Today we're joined by founder Jordan Dack, a producer, filmmaker, and award-winning songwriter, and Hoelune, community builder, musician, and artistic director at Victoria Poetry Project. Together, along with a bunch of really cool humans that you will see later, they're shaping a space where collaboration, storytelling, and artistry thrive. Let's get it poppin'. Hey. What's up? How we feeling?
So good. Thank you for having us.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, thank you for being here. The first time that I was here was a year and a half ago at Winter Arts Fest 2024 in February. They hosted an unofficial, but to me it was like kind of the official after party of the festival, and so much was going on in this space. Yeah, I guess we should just start with this interview with like, where are we? What is this place? How did it come into being?
Sure, and maybe just about that Winter Arts Festival event, just want to send some love to Move 37XR, who were a big part of making it happen, and Ruby Singh, and all the other beautiful people that was a huge event that couldn't have happened if people didn't step up. So
absolutely.
Just want to make sure.
We weren't even just in the physical space, we were brought into like augmented reality, virtual reality space that
multiple
night.
realities that night. But yeah, we are in a space called the Dream Lounge. It is, like all of our spaces, multi-use space. This one in particular is photo studio / workshop space / immersive projection space. And so the idea is that whether you're a photographer or someone who wants to create or take the world that's in your head and bring it out into this reality, invite audiences in, this is the space to do it.
Super cool. Yeah, and how did you get involved with Haus of Owl? How long has it been?
It's been for about 2 years. An awesome part about Haus of Owl is we have like recording studios here, and we have photo shoot studios, but a great way to let the community know, the wider community, is to have events here. So we have poetry nights, and we have open mic nights, and we have like beat making with friends. So these spaces that are much more accessible to anyone coming in without booking a space. And so I am an artist, I'm a poet, I'm a musician. And so I found out about the space through an open mic poetry night.
Cool.
And it's really cool because the community space, I'm excited to show you later on the tour, but the community space where the events take place is right next to the recording studio and right next to the podcast studio. So I was going for a poetry night. And a year, like kind of the month leading up to it, actually, I had been trying to manifest having access to a recording studio to record my music. And I look behind me and I see the recording studio I had been envisioning for the last like month. I was like, holy heck. Yeah. But I was like, well, I don't know, how am I ever gonna, like, I don't know what this place is. I don't know who runs it. I don't know how much money it is. Yeah. And then somehow I meet Jordan. And Jordan's like, do you want to just take a tour of the whole space? And I'm like, yeah. So it was this really awesome night of poetry, which is, it's called Lit. And it was a bunch of like kind of fake candles, but it's this candlelight poetry night, which led to me getting excited with the recording studio, me becoming a member, me learning how to use the studio, and finally me saying, Jordan, you look so busy. Do you need any assistance? And so I wormed my way into the space.
You're like, you need a me. You need someone like me.
So
exactly.
Right. And it was perfect timing, too.
Pass the mic.
Yeah, and it was perfect timing, too, because I think she started to notice the bags under my eyes. And
I can carry those.
Yeah, and it was that morning that I was like, I really need some help around here. So great timing, everything lined up, and yeah, here we are. So.
How did this place start and come to being?
Yeah, so with my background in business and music, I've spent most of my time in two different places, recording studios and co-working spaces. And during COVID, I watched a lot of my favorite recording studios around the world shut their doors. And it wasn't just because of COVID, it was also just a sign that the old model of making music had changed a lot. And, you know, these multi-million-dollar beautiful facilities weren't providing, you know, the same, they weren't as connected with the way people were making music these days. And then there's on the co-working side. I show up at a co-working space, you go there to work on your own stuff, but then, you know, 3 hours in, and you're talking to somebody about collaborating on a project, another business, an investment. And it made me think, well, there is a whole nother group of people that I know that work in isolation and that could benefit from bumping up against one another, and those are artists. And specifically for me, where my passions lie in the world of songwriting and filmmaking, photography, writing, storytelling. And so it was basically like, let's just give this a shot. So we do consider this whole thing to be an experiment, experiment and an investment in sort of the fertility of ideas, of identity and meaning. Like, what happens when we put our time, energy, and money into a space and give artists to each other, you know? And so a good friend of mine, Logan, who's Rock Slide Studios, he had spoken to Reliance Properties about this building and about filling it with artists. And he reached out and said, hey, how about, do you want to do some music stuff here? And anyways, one thing led to the next, and here we are. We took over, we basically have about 6,000 square feet now, filled with songwriters and poets, and they all do bump up against each other. And they do have those coffee break moments where the in-between moments become something really special and create the next project. And,
That's so cool. How long ago was that now?
3 years now.
Wow, congrats. It's a big feat to create, first of all, 6,000 square feet. This place is big. And to create a space that is for artists, by artists, you know, like, I feel in the world in general, we're experiencing, and it was happening even pre-COVID, like the erasure of arts and cultural spaces because of like a lot of development companies coming in, and, you know, we don't need another condo. We need like more integration that like really amplifies who is the local community, who are the people here, and like develop and create and co-create with who's here. So it's really cool to see this space that you were telling us before the interview. It formerly was originally built as a hospital that never became a hospital, so not very haunted, we're okay. And then it became a place for BC Hydro?
BC Power.
Oh,
Yeah, and then, office building for years and years. Still a few ghosts from that. And then...
serious
Reliance
productivity
Properties,
ghosts.
Yeah, exactly. And then Reliance Properties bought the building and have plans for its development. But in the meantime, we get to make art. And so that is part of our story and part of our adventure and path moving forward is to, right from the beginning, from the moment that we signed the lease, we knew that, one, this was an experiment. This was a research project to see if this crazy idea had any legs. And the idea was that since we know that eventually we're probably going to have to move, the number one job is to build a sticky community, right? So that when we do move, we move together. And so that's what we've been up to, and really learning about what do artists actually need. You know, if in a traditional co-working space, if someone working on their new app needs a desk and needs, you know, these sorts of things, what does a musician need? Is their desk actually a desk, or is their desk a rehearsal space? You know, or is their desk a acoustically treated room to mix? You know, so we've been asking these questions for 3 years, and we're starting to get some answers.
I love that.
Yeah.
And Hoelune, how long have you been here now as the executive assistant? You're like,
I started as the administrative assistant, so that was, I guess, again, I'm pretty sure around two years ago or a year and a half ago. And then after a few months, I was like, can I be the executive assistant? Because I want to just wear all the hats. I want a wardrobe of hats, please. I like really multitasking. I love that there's just like a branch and so many different blossoms, and I'm like,
Yes.
I see that it's all connected, and everyone's like, well, there's so many blossoms, and I'm like, yeah, isn't that awesome? So been doing that for about around a year and a half. It's been really good. While I have the microphone, I do want to ask a question about, because that was very business and beautiful, but I also had to ask about, you said if this thing has legs, but I think we were seeing if it had legs and wings. And a lot of people ask, why is it House of Owl? And I think we were talking about the alignment of Jordan waking up and being like, I need help, and then me coming into the studio and being like, can I help? I want to work for you as the first employee of House of Owl. Yes. And so there's just a lot of alignment in the space. There's a lot of connectivity, and the foundation of that was really brought because Jordan really tuned in with a lot of intentionality, and House of Owl, there's a story there. So I want Jordan to share that, if that's okay.
Yeah.
Can I invite you to that?
Specifically around the naming of House of Owl.
owls.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, see, this story is typically reserved for bottles of wine or tea, and
We
there's
have coffee.
yeah, but it is a lengthy story. So maybe I'll try to do a 20-second version of it.
However way it comes out, my friend.
Okay, and then we'll do long form later,
Yeah,
and you
yeah.
can hear the whole story, and we'll build a film around it, and we'll
A whole documentary.
yeah, there'll be a
BTS.
dance
Write the song for
performance.
it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, but no, it was a very sacred experience for me during a time in my life that was fairly absent of sacred experiences, and it was a turning point for me that owls started showing up everywhere, and for some people maybe they see owls all the time, and this is just, but for me that had never been part of my experience, and within 5 days, 3 owls showed up within 1 or 2 feet from where I was standing. And, I'm not sure exactly, or I didn't know exactly at that point how I felt about the universe sending messages. I think in conversations I probably would have said, I totally believe that, but internally I would be suspicious. And now it's very clear to me that that is a thing. And it wasn't just an animal popping out. There was like, whoa, okay, let's start noticing something.
Yeah.
But they carried a message with them, and it still took me a while to figure out what that message was. And but what the message ended up being at the end of the day, and it was a very personal message at first, was that it was time to listen to your heart again. And I'd spent decades listening to every other part. And so at that point, it was a commitment to those messengers, and that I was going to follow my heart no matter what, and regardless of the risks. And honestly, there's so much risk in building a place like this.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and so I think there needed to be an experience like that to really allow those risks to be taken.
Yeah, solidify trust.
Yeah, exactly. And just know that, on those hard days where everything doesn't seem to be working, you can still go, no, I said I was going to do this. I was going to follow my heart no matter what. And no matter what is a big statement, right, if you actually mean it.
Yeah, it's true.
Right? We can just say no matter what, but when you really mean no matter what, whew, like,
Yeah.
that's real,
Yeah.
And so, and of course, that's not the only thing that's been going on. Like, the strength of my commitment to this space isn't what created it. It's just what's kept me around. But the community, like, if we didn't have all these people showing up every day, pitching in, sharing their gear, their wisdom, their experience, then none of this would have been happening. I'd still be here because I made that commitment, but I'd be just sitting in an empty room, So yeah.
I love that. I also love that the acronym spells whoo. House of Owl. Was that intentional? Did you know?
Not intentional.
I love when that happens.
Intentional. Yeah.
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 It's really solidified.
Yeah. Well, I think because people would spell WHOO, right?
Yeah.
Usually. So that worked out nice.
It worked out well. Yeah.
I'm curious to know, it's been 3 years now, starting House of Owl. Is there anything that surprised you from what has emerged from the creation of this space, either in terms of like community or like what this space has facilitated, or even learnings within yourself? Like what has surprised you?
I have so much to say about this, but do you want to dive in?
Okay. I think what has surprised me is that just knowing I've grown up in Victoria, born and raised, and I've had this belief that if these artists, if we just had more infrastructure, we could do so much more. But again, it's one of those things that I'm like, I'm pretty sure, I'm not certain. But I've been helping Deb Bellino, who is Sass and Smalls Talk, her podcast, and doing that podcast production and bringing the team in and just bringing it in with like intentionality. These stories that she shares is about burnout and being a parent and helping parents with disability and helping children with disability and just being a support in that way and being like, this is art, but these are always also stories that need to be told, and they are only told because we have this infrastructure in place. Like that material progress is necessary, and I love becoming that bridge of like how do we make that more accessible, or how do we teach how to use this equipment, and I just think I don't know if it's surprising, but it's just very like eye-opening to see like how beautiful the art can become, how beautiful the stories can become, how we are uplifting the stories of marginalized peoples or people like equity deserving peoples. These stories of like being a support to children and parents in that way, they deserve to be heard. So how can art really be this activation of storytelling, and how can how the infrastructure is necessary to support that, which makes you more committed to how do we take care of a space, how do we take care of curating a space, how do we these things that Jordan and his wife Scarlett have been very intentional with, like making the space so beautiful that it inspires people as well to be more comfortable to tell their stories. How important that is, because we don't really have that in Victoria. We have recording studios here or cafes there, but it hasn't been curated for the comfortability of the artist. And when the artists are comfortable, then they can tell their stories. Then the art no longer becomes a product as much as a channel for storytelling, and that's what we need more right now. But yeah, I guess that's more of like a learning than a surprise. Like I kind of I already knew that, but like it's just more like learning. Exactly. Right? Yeah. So that's what I can say right away. That's what comes to me.
That's beautiful. You?
Sure. Yeah. So one thing that sounds kind of crazy as something that or surprising as something that I've learned is that it really is community that people want. It's at the beginning of this adventure, I didn't know. It seemed like one of those great words that people say, oh yeah, we need more community, and then no one really does it, and it seems like if you just based your opinion on their actions, you'd think, oh, that community isn't actually a thing. It's just something that nonprofits talk about, and it's in their mission. It's in their mission statement. It helps with funding or something like that. Yeah. Turns out, community is what everyone wants, at least those that walk through this door. And it doesn't matter if you run a successful documentary, film company, or if you're a record producer who's worked with Alicia Keys, and or if you're somebody who's just learning and just stepping into the world. And I'm giving these examples as real members in our community, that it's community. That's what they're here for. And yeah, we can make sure that there's great coffee, and we can make sure that the gear in the studio will support commercially viable releases, and we can do all these things. And those are important too, but they're here to be around other people that are in the same creative frequency that they are. And that was surprising to have that confirmed, and 100% confirmed, like it's not a question anymore. That's what people are here for, and that's what they're seeking. So that's a huge learning. Yeah. Yeah, it's good to know, right?
For your own personal artistic journey and creativity, how has this space now helped foster your growth?
Goodness gracious. We're going to get heartfelt, as I always do.
We get real.
As I usually do, to get heartfelt, but it's always different in front of a camera. But I think The part of community building is a thing, and I think that mixed in with the intentionality of like, oh, I felt the sign, I felt to follow my heart. It really, Jordan has that, and it attracts other people who are like, I also had a sign to be here. So there's this like frequency of like, I'm meant to be here, this intentionality of being here, and then there's this belief in one another in that, and this belief in what we're creating. Like I'm writing songs, or we have this event called Song Owl, for example. Kurt Lowen hosts, and we go in a circle and we share the songs we're writing, and I get stuck in myself. I'm like, the song isn't, like it's not finished, it's so raw, like it's not done, and I share it amongst like 30 people, and it's kind of, you share and then people give feedback, and they're giving feedback all around the circle. And with mine, they're like, no, that's a finished song. Wow. And I was like, oh, I was just scared to bring it to my band, like I just thought it wasn't done yet. So it's really having this belief in one another, belief that what we have to share, again, in our stories and in our art is worthy of being shared, that we can also come into, we have the photo shoot studio, the rehearsal space, all these spaces, go in there, create your magic. It's worthy of that time. It's worthy of that space to take up. And if you run into someone at the hall and you're like, I'm going to write the song, they're like, that's awesome, that's so cool. And there's not many spaces, I was really wanting to go to music school for the Conservatory of Music, but it didn't fit me. I've been homeschooled my whole life, and it didn't fit what I wanted to do, again, creating it more as a product I really just wanted a supportive community, and that's really, House of Owl has helped me take those extra risks. So through my time at House of Owl, I've been able to start a band. That band has been able to meet here. That band has been able to rehearse here. That band has been able to do photo shoots here. I was talking with someone at a dinner party, and they're like, I talked about House of Owl, and they're like, your band, like, there's a band that came out of House of Owl. And I was like, I've never heard that an artist came out of House of Owl. Who are you talking about? And they're like, Luna Land. And I was like, that's me. And like really hearing, and it's like true, like, this band came out of House of Owl, and it's within collaboration, because I can only do so much. And again, I'm surrounded by incredible artists, photographers, videographers, musicians, but we can only do so much if we don't have, again, that extra layer of community that says, I believe in you. Again, we have people who are, a touch younger than us, but quite a few people who are older than us. So having that intergeneration of people who believe in you in that way is so important. But also, again, like the infrastructure, also, again, like, what if you added this? Also, again, oh, you should have that just the way it is. I just think that it's just really like skyrocketed for me to be able to actually take those chances, take those risks, and not feel so damn scared of it. Because even if I feel scared, or I felt like, oh, that gig didn't, the next day, I can brag about it. And there's so much space to brag about it. And there's so much space to I think it's really just the people that have changed me. The people have changed me. The spaces changed me. And also, I think continually, like, Jordan is such an inspiration to me. And like knowing that, okay, I can pursue this, and I can be a professional, and I can be an entrepreneur. It doesn't have to be one or the other. Like, all is welcome here. All belongs here. And there's not many examples of that. And so to be so close to examples of that is so good as a younger person, instead of feeling like I have to compartmentalize, or I have to go to school for this, or I have to, it's like, no, we can just do all of it. I don't know if that answers. That's so many words.
No, that's incredible. I also love that you talked about this space being intergenerational. Like, when I think of community, I do think of multiple generations. It's the hip hop philosophy of each one teach one, like, I'm all about the multi-generational litness, as I've been saying from time and on this show. Because you do need that, like, affirmation from those who've come before, but then they're also equally getting inspired, as am I. I'm in my auntie generation, and I'm inspired by the younger generation, where I'm like, y'all are doing it better than we ever could,
Yeah, exactly. And maybe I can speak to that for a second. Because I think that's the other surprising thing, is that if we just took this whole thing on as, in a way, a standard project, or let's build a business or something like that, I think it would have failed already. But we discovered that it's not a co-working space. It's not even just a community. It's an ecosystem that we're building. And we're ecosystem builders in as much a way that one can build an ecosystem. An ecosystem also nourishes itself.
Yes.
And trying to create a space primed for self-nourishment is, I think, probably the greatest challenge I've ever been a part of. But it's also, it changes the way that you think about spaces and people and community. When one thing works really well, you don't just duplicate it and replicate, because that doesn't create a strong ecosystem. That creates a homogenized and very frail system. So it's about, and that's the intergenerational piece, is diversity of all kinds makes a stronger ecosystem, and that's what we need. And if we're going to be here 50, 100, 500 years from now, it's going to be because it is a diverse and strong ecosystem that we built. And that is it. And I could go into so many, because this is the beautiful part that I find too, the balance you're talking about, where art meets business, meets everything else. This is a big lesson in that too, this whole space, is what we need to find. We can't just focus on deep quality art. We have to think about sustainability and financial sustainability. And I think, I have my own opinion about the ratio, and I'm heavier on this side because I do think that deep art is what can create financial stability. But we have to see where both of these meet. And again, that's an ecosystem conversation, not let's just all get together and create the most commercially viable art that we can and sell it, and then wake up 50 years from now and go, oh, I never created what I really wanted to create, or what the world really needed for me to create. The world needs everyone's voices. And so, yes, it's a big ecosystem conversation, and ecosystems also take time, right? And a lot of guess and checking, and let's see what happens if we do this. And
But to be given the space and the time to make those choices and experiment and try, that is the best part of being an artist. That's the process part. You know what I mean? When I talk to most artists, it's we actually enjoy the process way more than the end product.
Absolutely.
It's it's what created. Well, no, that's not true. We do like the end product at times.
Well, you guys have end products?
Yeah.
Great. Tell me about that.
Oh man, I feel like we should tour the space now. Now you got me hype. Now I want to see more. Yeah. Amazing. Jamal, shall we? Yeah. So you mentioned again this space that we're in right now. What is it called and what do we use it for?
Okay, so this is the Dreaming Lounge. So we have it as a photography studio. We also have it as an immersive projection space. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 projectors. We have panels on each side, so we can close those walls off. You can walk in there and have an immersive projection experience. And then we also have it as a workshop space as well. So there have been screen printing workshops that happen here, poetry workshops, electronic music workshops. So just really trying to have it as a space that can be utilized in multiple ways, because maybe we won't have a projection studio. Oh, there's a bed there. We also have this bed set up for boudoir photography as well. So yeah, really trying to make it available for many different disciplines in this space, as you will see as a consistent theme in the studios we go to. Thank you so much.
Shall we? I'm bringing you your coffee here. I can also continue to hold it for you whenever you're chatting here. Yeah, it's crazy to think that this used to be an office space, and loving that all the rooms can now be repurposed.
Oh, there we go.
Here we go.
So we're just going to keep walking down this hall here.
Back in Winter Arts Fest, this was all dark and moody, vibey lighting and lots of people. And you could go into the different rooms and explore.
Yeah, so we'll start off in the moon room, coming on this. We're going to go.
Or this way.
Okay? Yeah. We're going to go into the moon room this direction here. So this is our co-working space in the Moon Room. So we have co-working for creators. So we have Oak Bay Studios here. They do music and scores for documentary and film there. We have Hina, who is our helps with marketing for House of Owl, is also just an awesome digital artist, helps with a bunch of band posters and merch. We have Hoelune, my little messy guy here. As you know, I am the exec assistant at House of Owl. And then we have, hello, Jeff. And we have Cole here, too.
Hi. Nice to meet you.
Jeff helps us at House of Owl. He helps with opportunities for creators. So just connecting the dots of, I guess, what are you guys doing right now? Maybe is a great example.
We're working on this really exciting event that's coming out with House of Owl to connect a bunch of different people in the community, in the music scene, multi-different genres, because we have so many studio spaces here and so many artists that have that opportunity to potentially come in and want to come in and record, and just combining those two and getting people together and collaborating on music and giving opportunity back to the community. If we have that ability to, then why not do that, right?
Cool.
So,
sounds fun.
This is Campfire, right?
This is Campfire. I was going to be hush on the name, but yeah, we're working on an event called Campfire.
Whoops, you didn't hear it
We're
here.
working on an event called Campfire for October. We're really looking forward to it. Do you have anything to add to that?
Keep going, you got it.
Okay.
I'll just
Thank
say a quick word
you.
about it. So Campfire, because I know about this project, is multi-studios. Throughout House of Owl will open up. Each will be run by a different producer, engineer, studio lead, and then, we're going to have probably 40 plus artists roaming from studio to studio, jumping on tracks. So at the end of the weekend, it'll be 2 days full on recording. Well, there'll be 30, 40 pieces of music that are created, and that is Campfire.
Cool.
Yeah.
Sounds
way better than me.
amazing.
Sweet. We'll just keep walking down through.
Yeah.
Jake Inslee is on our board, and he's also a filmmaker and actor. He's awesome. Gray Orton, music producer, also is helping with our projection mapping. We'll go into the Zebra Lounge, which is a rehearsal space, and Gray has been an awesome contributor, allowing us to borrow their instruments and equipment and just have it for use for the community. Overall, Dominic Hall, awesome photographer. Victoria Clements makes our film mixers every month, sold out. So it's a bunch of film industry people getting together and learning how to just elevate themselves within that career space.
Cool.
What is this?
Oh, this is Ron Thaler, record producer. My favorite record producer. The one who I love to work with, but also, moved here recently from New York and worked with every single artist you can imagine, and has brought his skills and wisdom to the house.
Hey. Is that?
Yeah, that's right.
Yes. Always with us.
That's right.
So that's the Moon Room. That's our co-working aspect. So we have a few aspects at House of Owl. So it's like co-working, and then we do more things within the community. So like our arts programming for the community, which the people who are co-working can also attend, of course. And then we have our studio rentals. Again, if you're co-working with a desk or have a space with us, you have credits to use the studio rentals. So we're trying to see it like a clubhouse a little bit, where it's like you're working on your editing, if you will, and then you go film something in the Dreaming Lounge, or Gray uses the projection studio and plays with projectors for a little bit between meetings. So it's working in the way we want it to, which is awesome. Welcome to the garden. Yeah. So I
love this room.
Yeah, it's beautiful. This is the space where there's the poetry night when I first came here. So this is where we do our community programming mostly. So we have our garden sessions, open mic here, and the only rule is that everything has to be original. We also have poetry nights here. Also, people just play on the mini grand piano sometimes because we have that luxury. And then it also gets used as a like waiting room for like productions if people have things going on in the Dreaming Lounge, like photo shoots and things like that.
That's so cool. Is this where you worked on your album, your projects?
I've written a lot of songs in here. That's for sure. That's for sure. I'll be working on vocals coming up soon for my band in this studio right over here. where we'll be booking it within the next week to finalize some recordings. Do you want to say a couple things about the Hoelune?
Yeah, sure. I could, yeah. All right, we are in the Hoelune studio. It's where I spend most of my time. And yeah, it's been used for every sort of project, from podcasts to small like singer-songwriter projects, but then a lot of hip-hop projects and mixing and beat production, audio books, all sorts of things. So yeah, the space gets a lot of use in terms of the ratio of our studios. And
do you ever play with color therapy in here, like change the color lights?
Oh, all the time. In fact, yeah, when I'm working with an artist, the first question is, how do you want the space to smell? And that's, so we put a different scent in, and then what color? And yeah, I can never guess, you know? They always surprise me. I'll be like, oh, this person's like a light blue. They're like red and dark. Okay, that's what we're going to do.
How about for you both? Any personal preferences? On scent and
I love the classic. Honestly, I love peppermint. It keeps things fresh if I'm singing. And then I just love a bass. I'm like, I want to see what's going on. Yeah. Yourself?
For me, it's all about sandalwood.
Ooh.
And sandalwood, and then definitely dim lights, probably blue. Yeah, or purple.
I don't know if you saw, but there's like windows here. So this is great because when people are working on recording music, or Jordan's working on production or things like that. We've also had someone who was recording music, saw me walking by and is like, "You're a vocalist, hop on my track." So that's why we have a lot of windows. It's not like we still have to do things for soundproofing, but it really helps with this collaborative spirit. There's also a time before when I was just a member, and Zubair from Hot Pot, before Hot Pot was a thing, was playing on stage, playing the song, and then Jordan was like, "That was so cool. Let's just record it." So he was playing it for the open mic, and we just hopped into the studio. And so that's the really cool thing about the space too, is like, again, when we're talking about that cross-pollination, that like, what can we make while we're here, we really mean it. And I love that so much. Yeah, I just wanted to share that about the space as well here. Yeah.
That's great. And maybe I could just add that was very intentional to choose a space that had windows to the common area, you know, which isn't necessarily a typical choice to make with an isolated space. But that's exactly the reason. I'm so glad to hear that actually happened, because that was the vision, is that, you know, you're working on a track and you're sure that the chorus was a piano chorus, and then you realize, no, it's guitar, and you can just lean out the door and go like, oh, you know, Hoelune, great. Can you grab a guitar? Do you want to jump on this track? And the whole idea in a ideal scenario is that the creative process is interrupted as rarely as possible, you know, because we all know as creators that when that flow gets interrupted, who knows when it's coming back again. And so to stay in the flow. And so that comes down to things being user-friendly, but also having a community that's ready to jump in and help, you know. So yeah, that's the window philosophy. That's the window philosophy.
That's so dope. I love that.
Sure.
Ooh. I might close this window for a sec.
Yeah, good call.
Oh, yeah. There we go.
All right.
And this room over here?
Yeah. Maybe we could just, if you don't mind, could we just peek this way here? Yeah. So this is the Burrow, and we produce a lot of podcasts at House of Owl.
Yeah.
So we produce podcasts in almost all the studios. This setup here in particular is a bit of a DIY podcast situation, so it's as user-friendly as it gets. So you can just show up and, you know, press record and then walk away with a really high-quality podcast. So that's one of the ethos of House of Owl, is on one side, make the quality super high where House of Owl produces your project, but then also it's accessible. You can just walk in and make it happen for very little money and walk away with a really high quality product.
That's cool. Did you already envision that these rooms would be used for this purpose when you saw this space specifically?
We knew that they would be studio spaces for sure. What exactly was going to happen? No, we didn't know. And a lot of the spaces, they've switched since we've started. You know, I mean, that Ulu's always been Ulu. But Burrow and this space, for example, So one of the leading ADR and voiceover companies in Victoria, Timber Sound, they moved in here probably after 1 year of us opening. And so they've got absolutely state-of-the-art ADR voiceover set up in here. So they've got this, what's called a studio brick or whisper studio.
What does ADR stand for?
Oh my gosh, what does it stand for? Why, you know, what ADR is that in a film, when they're on set and they didn't quite pick up what the actor said and they need it to be heard, you know, the dialogue's important, they'll bring it in here and the actor will come back into studio and they'll say the line in the booth, get it clear. And I mean, every film that we ever watch has ADR all over it. And where voiceover is more like, the car commercial where you hear that voice, or the movie trailer, you hear that looming voice over top of everything. That's more voiceover world.
Cool.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I think this is hands down my favorite space. I was telling these guys that the last time I was here, the stage was set up over here. Ruby Singh, shout outs, he's in Van City, was performing a set with live looping, and there was this like VR headset that was getting passed around, except you were still here in this space, but everybody had like a Keith Haring outline on them, and every time you looked over your right shoulder, there was like a glittery rainbow just constantly streaming down. And I'm like, this is a trippy way to do a party.
And we did it.
And we did it.
Yeah.
So good.
And we're going to do it again.
Yeah.
In the next year.
Well, as y'all know, this show is called Beats, Eats, and More. And I brought you some treats.
What?
The chances of y'all trying these treats before are quite likely because you're the locals. I am not. But yesterday we lucked out because with Pindian on the show, I brought him Trini to debone.
Oh, so good.
For roti. And
nice.
actually, though, y'all, it was roti that was better than some I've tried in Toronto.
Right.
When I lived in Toronto, and we know like they've got the big Caribbean population, Trini, and like, yeah, the man's was in the kitchen in the back, like making the roti on the griddle fresh, and I was like, I did not bring you roti.
Yeah.
I
That was a big build-up.
Yeah. But what I did bring you was a place called Sally's Bun.
Okay.
Have you had?
Not yet.
What?
Yeah.
Okay, this
know it is
I
a
keep
staple
looking
in
out.
Victoria, though. Yeah.
You've heard of it though.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It's not far from here. It was like a 6-minute, like a 3-minute drive actually.
Nice.
So I laughed so hard when I looked this up on Google because they're all about just buns with different fillings. So this one is tuna. Okay, we'll cut these up and we'll try them all these different flavors, and we'll get the reaction shots because it's all about that. This flavor is, oh man, they abbreviated them and now I don't remember. Called Korean bulgogi beef. Do you eat meat? Do you guys veg? Or I asked.
I'm pretty veg.
There's no dietary restrictions.
like-
I'm so sorry.
But I eat
This
bread.
one's mushroom. This one's mushroom.
Oh, great.
We got mushroom here. You know.
I'm so sorry. That's my
No.
bad.
Yeah, I was like,
No,
I kept
there's a
asking. I was like,
mushroom one right
any allergies, dietary restrictions, y'all? Could we maybe help push this forward? Okay, so that one's the mushroom. We know this. The look on your face are like, I'm pretty veg. What does that mean? SF, spinach feta.
Ooh.
Okay, so we have two veg.
options.
We got
I've
two
got a wealth of
vegetarian,
options here.
but not vegan.
No,
Okay, because I think there's cream cheese in the one that's
but I am
mushroom.
gluten-free. No, I'm not. That would really throw things off.
I'm like, wait, hold on a second. And then, yeah, this one's the
These look beautiful.
Yeah.
right?
Like,
But
really well done.
look at them. It's just, who would have thought? Buns. And the funny thing is that in season 2 of the show, Jamal and I came up with a concept that we never fully executed, but it just like actually naturally became a thing where I was like, we should just always on the show have a thing we call pleasure-filled pockets. Because literally every
Nice.
culture has had
a pleasure-filled pocket. Samosas, dumplings, momos,
Pizza
pupusas,
pots.
empanadas, calzones.
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 There we go.
You know, so we're gonna give these a try. Let's go for.
I'm just so impressed. Like, they look beautiful.
Yeah, they do. Visually pleasing.
Like someone's been making buns for a long time.
Yeah, I think it's an Asian-owned place.
Yeah, I think so too.
Because they were this one's the mushroom cream cheese
Delish.
version here. And we actually already had a bun this morning.
Oh, so you know all about it.
Yeah, we had the breakfast bun. So it had egg and cheese and chives, you know. Okay, so we've got that. For y'all, like, what are some eats that you really love and recommend while we're here, / ideas for future spots to hit up for our guests that, you know, we have 3 more on the show and I got to bring them some eats.
You guys are in the right company, okay?
Yeah.
Hoelune's got you covered on this question.
I would say first and foremost, I want to shout out to Israel at MOARRR.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Is that the Mexican place
Yeah.
that's here in downtown?
Yeah, it's downtown. It's in Chinatown on Fisgard. And
legit.
yeah, he's awesome. He's like a chef from Mexico. And so for Central American food, my parents used to have a Central American restaurant. My daughter's from El Salvador. And so there's a lot, the foundation of the food is masa, so the corn flour for tacos and tamales and all the things. And so what Israel does is he actually like mills the corn in-house. And he also sources 3 types of corn that are indigenous to Central America.
Ooh.
So it's like really cool. It's a huge very authentic and so filling. So I definitely get the tamales from there. The tamal de frijol would be so good.
Oh,
And it's just like, it's like a little bit of a risk for the guests, but I love, like, they won't know what it is. A lot of people don't know what, I don't know, at least in Victoria, I don't know, a lot of people don't know what a tamal is. And then they eat it and they're like, oh, this is awesome. So I'd say maize for sure is my top
So
recommendation.
do we get to choose which food you serve your next guest? Is that part of the format here?
I will consider it as an option.
Okay.
This is an excellent option. And maybe you're familiar with our next guest. It's going to be looting, like Andrew, this evening. DJ, music producer, part of Resonance Collective, started Pleasure Management.
Sure.
He's going to be on the show today. I don't know. It sounds like he's ready to chat, so we might not even get food in. But maybe we need to.
I think they'll love the tamales.
I think so too. I think so too.
Okay, so we're going to do this all together. Let's start vegetarian's choice. Mushroom or spinach first?
Ooh, mushroom would be swell.
Okay, let's do it. Woo, go ahead, dig in. You know, don't be shy, as I say in my culture. And then it's maybe kind of hard to hold the mic, but like maybe in between the both of you. Cheers. You went right in.
I didn't know we were cheersing our buns now. I didn't know that was a cultural thing.
my
We did at
thing.
Eat More, yeah.
Oh, wait, you did mushroom first. The bun is soft. It's fluffy.
This is incredible.
The mushroom one?
Yes. The mushroom one's incredible.
I mean, I love me a classic spinach feta combo. Like, that's a flavor combo that will not die for me ever.
It's like comfort food. Like good post-breakup food. It's good for me right now.
You're held amongst good company here and good food.
Good buns.
Okay. I'm going to trade this out. This is still mine. I want to get on the mushroom train with you
All
now.
right.
Choo-choo.
Join me.
You have to like cream cheese for this one. You know, it's quite intense.
It is. Yeah. I mean, if you are just sort of on the fence about cream cheese, it isn't the one for you.
No, you have to like cream cheese, like I
I
said.
love cream cheese.
Yeah.
So yeah, it really worked.
I love cream cheese. Like, I just have started like getting it from the grocery store and adding like a pound of cream cheese onto my bagels every morning. So this is satisfying. I know I'm gonna get bored of it one day, but I'm like, this is the perfect timing.
Okay, so this next one is it's top rated on the Google reviews, as well as highly recommended by the man who served us today. He's like, I was like, which one do you recommend? And he's like, tuna. Get the tuna melt. So this is like their take on a tuna melt that me and Hoelune will give a go. Jamal, how's our stream going over here? Great. We looking okay? Yeah. Awesome. Okay. Ooh. Ready? Cheers. We've got celery, we've got tuna, we've got mayo. Is there cheese? I don't know. Maybe there's cream cheese mixed into it.
Cream cheese. Yeah.
It might be. I think there's definitely like mayonnaise in here or something. It's like a creamy texture. It tastes like a tuna sandwich to me.
It's good. You have to love tuna. You know what I mean? You have some people who are like, I'm not into tuna at all.
So I'm getting that the spinach one's probably your favorite so far. So.
I think so. I think it's the nicest balance. Like, eat more if you want, you know.
I like the mushroom the best right now.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Whoa. The bulgogi is kind of giving me like, if you look at that there, it's kind of reminding me of like a siopao, like a what do you call this? Like a steam bun. In Filipinos, like, because there's a big Chinese community within the Filipino community, like multiple generations that were born and raised in the Philippines. We call them Philchai. And one of the best things that ever came from that was like the mixing of food cultures. And so they brought us what we call the siopao, which is like the steam bun mixed with like different fillings. And this is bulgogi beef. That might be my favorite.
I'm gonna try this mushroom one.
Back at it.
You're always going for the mushroom.
Yeah,
You know-
over the mushroom one.
First of all, shout outs to Sally, whoever you are, that you came up with such a simple model, which is like, I'm just gonna do buns. Pleasure-filled pockets, as I'd like to say. And my recommendation is to do a veggie meat with this beef bulgogi. Wouldn't that be delicious?
Yeah, Sally, let's talk. Let's make this happen.
Okay, while you have food in your mouth, I'm gonna do a rapid fire question of fun. First thing that comes to your mind.
Yes.
You know? And the rule is you have to be eating while you answer these questions. You don't have to, but it's how it ended up with Pindian yesterday, and it made for a hilarious time. Okay, ready? Morning person or midnight creator? Don't forget the mic here.
Absolutely morning. After 2 p.m., don't even talk to me. I can't. I do not function.
Midnight creator.
Go-to snack during a long studio session?
Trail mix.
Yeah.
Yeah, sustains, you know.
This is bad. It's not good for my vocals, but vegan gummies.
Because of the stickiness?
Yeah. But the vegan ones. Yeah. I'm getting in trouble.
Favorite corner or secret spot in House of Owl?
Well, I'll tell you about a future one that's about to happen. I can get creative with the question.
Yeah.
We have a storage room, and we're going to, you have to go behind one of the shelves, and there'll be a secret little writing area. And this is in our imagination, so I go there now in my imagination, and be able to go there in reality very shortly.
Cool.
There's a staircase at the end of this hall where I've performed poetry. And yeah, it's been so beautiful just to have a one-on-one moment to show your art in that intimate way. Yeah.
You mean like you've performed it in front of like an audience of one?
Performed it in front of an audience of one, and then that one person asked me to perform it for their documentary because it moved them for the story. Yeah, so there's a memory there.
I know this is rapid fire, and I'm throwing off the format, but
Yeah.
the stairwell both of our stairwells at the end of the halls, they have like cathedral grade reverb going on. And one time we had Ruben from Ruben in the Dark performing in the garden here, and his last song, which is generally a sing-along with the audience, we brought it into the stairwell, and the audience filled up the stairs, and he sang the final sing-along song in this stairwell, and it was sacred. It was incredible. So before you guys go sing a few notes in the stairwell. Yeah.
Well, me and Jamal love to do a
Perfect.
like it's a nice reset / meditative moment. Okay, what's one thing every creative space must have?
Come on, it's your turn.
Coffee.
Yes, bare facts.
A space to hide. We like socializing, but we like hiding too. Yeah.
Victoria's most underrated creative talent right now.
Ooh.
You're gonna see me, I'm gonna cry.
Definitely Luna Land. Yeah, 100%.
Planted answer?
Zero hesitation. Luna Land. What do you think? You can vote for yourself.
I think Anne Martina. Anne Martina is an awesome musician, and she's just a really awesome storyteller through her lyrics. So yeah, I think she's super underrated, and
Gotta
you gotta
look
hype
her
her
up.
up, look her up,
Yes.
stream her music.
What's playing on the speakers when you need a reset?
James Vincent McMorrow these days. So like really dreamscapey vocal folk music. Yeah.
Natalia Lafourcade, she's like a jazz musician / folk musician, and performs like 1930s Mexican music.
Ooh, cool reset. Biggest artistic green flag in a collaboration?
Coachability. Yeah, and just openness to do exactly opposite of what they came in the room to do. Yeah.
Ooh, good one. You?
Wanting to share if something doesn't fit right, and being like, what can we do to make it fit right? You know, I love that so much. I mean, like, let's talk about it. No.
Red flag.
So many to choose from.
Start to cry. Flashbacks.
Yeah, a red flag when working on a creative project is when someone doesn't stop talking and has trouble actually just being present. Yeah.
Ooh. Sorry, I'm just trying to think. That's not rapid fire. But I think I think when somebody shares only about their experience of your work, and they don't inquire about your work or what it means to you. They're just like, this is what it means to me, and it's so off. And then they keep going and going and wanting to put it into their vision. And that's awesome as an audience member. That's what you're supposed to do. But I think as a collaborator, it's a collaboration. So it's a two-way streak. And if I don't feel like listened to or respected in that way, if I feel dominated in a conversation, I just take a little step back for sure.
Learnings.
And mega hats. Big red flag.
Like actual physical hats?
No, like Make America Great Again hats. Someone walks into the studio, mega red flag.
I'm pretty sure that's a red flag, period.
Yeah.
I know, I was trying to share something like that, but I was like, that's just a mega red flag, period.
Yeah.
So,
What's the craziest thing you've seen someone create at House of Owl?
Wow. Oh my gosh. Well, it was myself and a bunch of people, so a little shout out to myself and our teams here, but we did a 9 mini film series for a poet.
Whoa.
And one of the scenes involved a woman sitting on the ground in the studio with an umbrella as 5 of us threw empty tin cans in the air to make it look like it was raining tin cans. And then down the hall in the bathroom involved somebody who was reading a poem, and while at the same time had a hose on a C-stand above their head and was getting drenched with water. And the hose was out of frame, so it was just like drenched with water as they said the whole poem. And it was so impactful. And yeah.
Oh my gosh, that is crazy. That's fun.
That's crazy.
Darren Smiles, is that his name? Yeah, made a beautiful record called Portal, and he was doing this like at the latest nights at House of Owl, and you could feel that. You could see that. It was kind of like in between the worlds, and when you listen to it, that was the track he asked me to hop on, and it's just so beautiful, like saxophones and kind of this like otherworldly space. So I think that was so cool. Cool.
Can I just say that that project was part of a program that we've started and we're going to keep doing more of, which is the Night Owl program. And so that's the thing. Artists work at all hours of the day. So even part of the sustainability piece is to leverage that. And so we keep our recording studio open 24 hours a day. So if an artist wants to come in and record in the middle of the night, if that works with their creative flow, it's as close to free as you can get in terms of studio pricing and whatnot. Yeah.
Send me a message at hello@houseofowl.com if you want to know the actual rates, because they're not on our website yet.
Amazing. One word that captures the vibe of Victoria's current art scene. One word.
Blooming.
Love to hear it.
I was on the same wavelength, but I don't know what the word is. But it's like, I don't know what the word is, but it's when the bud is about to bloom. Like, I don't think we're bloom. Like, not to fight you, but I was on the same. I was like, I feel like we're like there. Yeah, like it's not yet
emerging.
Yeah, but it's like that when you can see that you can see the color of the flower, kind of, but it's still in its little pleasure pocket, and it's going. It's not quite open yet, but I feel that.
What is that word? Yeah,
we're at the. I would say like at the edge almost, or
on the
like
precipice.
This. Precipice.
On the cusp.
Yeah, that's how I feel quite a bit. We're like, ooh, almost.
I love that. That's good.
Yeah.
What's a ritual you swear by before getting into a creative flow?
Meditation. Yeah, just a letting go, a reminder that everything inside you that you don't actually need, you can let go of, and to make that space, and then you step in.
I don't have one.
Yeah, that's fair.
I just go. I'm just like, I have a song, and now I have to go. I write songs on buses, or I like see my friends, and we like, I don't know, write a poem at home. Like, it's very like, yeah, I can't.
So maybe your ritual is like live life.
Yeah, for real. Live life, feel the feelings.
This is the way. And just a side note, as a producer and someone who tries to help artists get some of their best stuff out, if you can get away from rituals, sometimes that is the best thing to do, because the ritual thinking often means that you feel like everything needs to be right for you to create, instead of just, I am a creative being creating all the time. And this is what happens naturally as breathing, instead of building it up a whole lot. I think it's really smart.
I would say though, like, feel your feelings, express yourself, because that's like our like chakra, like, right? Yeah. So it's like once that's open, then other things become open, and so that's like just making sure that you're very authentic in how you show up, and making sure you tell your truth, even if it hurts yourself.
Yes.
Yeah.
If you could host anyone, alive or dead, in the studio for one day, who would it be? Boom, boom, boom. Ooh, dream.
I got to go with Lunaland again. Probably Frank Ocean.
Ooh.
Actually, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my gosh.
Yeah,
Frank out there. There's a cool place ready to embrace you.
Yeah.
This is going to get sentimental, but definitely my dad. My dad has passed away, but he had a cumbia band, and I feel like his magic has definitely led me here, and he's already in the studios with me or at rehearsal spaces, but I've prayed to him, and I'm like, oh my gosh, if I could get you into a studio, that would be so fun together. So
oh my gosh,
definitely
especially
him.
This place.
Right? Yeah, meeting Jordan and the crew who just loved the vibe so much.
Shout out to the Ancestor Squad, for real.
Harrison Huracan.
Aw. What's something artists always forget they're allowed to do?
Lean into their art, they're always leaning away from that weird thing that makes them totally them. because they think they need to be commercially viable, but to lean fully into it, double down on it. They forget that they can do that and need to do that.
The weird, the awkward, the all of it.
Lean in.
I would say, yeah, similar scenario. My best friend, Rain Cook Thomas, has talked to me about we just need to get our hair wet, and that will scare people, and that will, people will be like, ew, because they just want to dip their toes in. But we are people who will get our hair wet, and I think so. That's the one thing is get your hair wet. But I've been noticing reactions to me doing that, especially as just a woman and just doing my thing, leading a band, and it's just get your hair wet, and also don't be afraid to support each other, even if it's insecurity set in, or even if you're trying comparison setting. It doesn't matter. Just support each other and get your hair wet. You know? Yeah. Yeah, don't forget to support each other.
Last question. If the walls of House of Owl could talk, what would they say about you?
Go to sleep, Jordan. Get some rest. They would say, I have no idea what they would say.
That's a good question.
It's a great question. What do you think, Hoelune?
I love you.
Aww.
That's good.
Yeah, that's good.
I think they would say that to you too.
Yeah, I think so.
I always say the ghosts and the spirits are very pleased in this space. I feel a lot of love from them here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are pleased.
They would say, thank you. We didn't want to be a productivity office.
Yeah, exactly.
We wanted to be a different kind of productivity.
That's right. We got the productivity ghosts are in the studio making music now. Yeah.
They've reclaimed their
it.
spirit, their energy.
Totally. Absolutely.
I love that. Y'all, this has been probably more than an hour now. This was amazing. It was so
you
good to
so
sit
much.
down with you,
Yeah,
to
so
get this
fun.
tour of this space, to see it again, but this time in daylight, and to get to know more of also how it's evolved in a year and a half since I've last been here. So inspiring, and these conversations have been so nourishing. And yeah, I'm here to support. I'm a fan. And I can't wait to come back / refer all the peoples to come out here. There's also some grants where, and I've sent these to a lot of people who are out of province, where we're really encouraging music recording within BC. And I've referred musician friends from out of BC to come and record in Vancouver. But now I'm like, y'all, come and have an island vibe. You know?
Absolutely. And thank you so much for inviting us into your creative project. This has been so nourishing as well. So thank you.
96th interview in the
Whoa.
archive. Clocking it in, baby. Rah.
That's awesome.
Once again, this is the founder, Jordan. This is the executive assistant / both of them incredible, multifaceted artists, Hoelune. Y'all have been watching Beats, Eats, and more. Victoria, chat.